they measure their results based on how their body looks. Well, being fit is so much more than that. It's about what you put in your body, in your mind, in your mouth, and how you move your body overall.
So today we're going to speak with Ocean Bloom, a world-class athlete and top-level fitness model. We're going to hear from her what she discovered was wrong, and we're going to get her insights on how you too can be truly fit.
We've been working with Ocean. Ocean competed in our shows many, many, many years ago and was always such a huge inspiration and appeared in the posters and in magazines and on TV shows, inspiring people on getting them to get out of their comfort zone and reform their body, transform their body to do incredible things on stage. What was cool about that is it inspired a lot of people into action. But now, knowing what we know collectively, did we inspire people to take the right fitness action? I would say no.
Well, I would say no too. We discovered there was a lot of things that we did not do well that we thought was actually health promoting at the time.
But, you know, when we look at it, the way that people exercise in the gym, the way that people live their life when they're outside the gym is so far away of what fitness or wellness is that it's time to shake things up. It's time to change up the way that the industry sees it. It's time to change up the whole definition of what it means to be fit.
Right, because fitness starts within. And as a world-class athlete, Ocean, people were inspired by you. They were empowered by you. They loved what they saw. Only what they saw at that time was only your outward reflection. It didn't actually represent how you authentically felt and how happy you actually were, and what it actually meant to them to see you as fit was completely different than what it was for you at that time. So like us, you discovered that there's so much more to it. It does not equate to inner joy. It does not equate to healthfulness, nor does it equate to peace. You discovered that there is much more to fitness because being fit, it starts within. It is self-love. One law, one love, unconditional love, self-love.
So this show is for all of you brave hearts out there. It's for you to be able to hear from some of the top athletes and trainers and specialists in the world on what it truly, truly means to live a life of happiness, pain-free, and emotionally connected to you and loving yourself. So those of you who are joining live, we are live on Facebook and YouTube and Bitchute and Telegram and so many other platforms, Rumble. So join in, ask some questions, say hello to Ocean, have some questions for her, or just engage in the conversation so that we can help you awaken what you need to awaken within.
That's right, brave hearts. We want you to take away that whatever you are thinking about fitness, it is time to step it up a notch or several notches. It is time to do something that is truly good for you. It is time to focus within. It is not about aesthetics. It is not about toughness. It is not about how you look to others, nor is it about building up your body, because in the process, you create inflammation, scar tissue, joint pain, and long-term injuries. Rather, it is about loving yourself. It is about loving your body in a way that lets you self-heal, self-treat, and self-respect.
Wow. It truly is. You're on fire today. It's true. It's time to make things up. And we're going to bring Ocean on in just a moment. It really is. So tune into the show. Ask questions. Stay engaged because this is for you. And let's look at how we together can look after this amazing temple that we have in every aspect of our life.
Yeah, and what is neat about that is you actually have a wellness weekend coming up, and we noticed it doesn't include lifting heavy weights, nor does it include going to the gym. It's really based on nutrition, breath work, movement, and emotional upgrades. And that's what we really want to focus on today, because this is such an important topic for you brave hearts to understand. Knowing this, you can actually choose to change your reality and the life that you're living. You can choose to make it uplifting, pain releasing, injury reversing. youthful aging, and finally loving yourself.
That says it. That really says it. I mean, you can really choose what it is that you want to feel and who you want to be. So
it's going to be over to you, Ocean. Tell us, how should everyone rethink their fitness based on your own experiences and your discoveries, and how they should rethink fitness at whatever level they're in, whether they're a fitness enthusiast going to the gym, or they're a pro level athlete, or they're a personal trainer. We want to know from you what you know that they are unaware of, that they are not doing well, and what they can do to fix it. Welcome, Ocean.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction and all the energy, and those are really powerful words. And so, yeah, you've said a few of those words. What do you want it to look like versus what do you want it to feel like, right? The fitness industry was all about what you look like. And for me, back in the day, I remember even having the internal dialogue and being told it doesn't matter what you feel or what's going on for you. It's about how you look. Nobody cares about how you're feeling, or if you're, going through something. It's about how you look. And so we program even our lives, I think, that way in all aspects, not even just with fitness, but, we get a vision board and we go, okay, what do I want my house to look like? What do I want my partner to look like? Everything's visual. And what do I want my relationship to look like? Look, it looks good on paper, right? It's visually looking good. We've got it all set out. And what it's come down to for me now is, what do I want my body to feel like? How do I want to feel in my body when I wake up in the morning? How do I want my relationships to feel? How do I want those interactions to feel? How do I want my job to feel when I get up and I'm going to do that? We are these living beings having this experience. And so you can have a beautiful looking body and feel terrible. And you can have a relationship that looks great on Facebook and Instagram, and it's really toxic and unhealthy. And you can have a job that you go to, and again, it's a prestigious job in a beautiful place. And I've been there as well. And I felt so uncomfortable for so many reasons. And so I've summed it up simply to that. How do I want to feel in my body, in my heart, in my relationships? And so it's a very different approach. It is starting from the inside. But an interesting thing I find with that as well is, if you want to feel good and you want to feel love and you want to feel joy and you want to feel inspired, then you have to feel everything that you feel. So that means all the things that you neglected or you've pushed down. And so what a journey that is when we start to go inside. It's like, if I want to feel love and be open to love, then I have to feel all the grief or loss or sadness or whatever I've collected. And I can see also why the external can be like a drug. And it was for me, definitely. It's like, I'm just going to focus on the outside. I don't want to deal with that inner stuff. I don't want to deal with my childhood or the work stuff. It was an escape. I just wanted to focus on going to the gym 3 times a day and following this routine and this structure, and nothing else matters. And so there were so many positives, but so many negatives, because as you said, it appeared to other people like, wow, you look amazing. You're in such great shape. And that became then this idea of success. People thought, oh, you're successful because you're in great shape, And that was really hard for me for a long time too, because people would not ask really ever how I was doing. Like, how are you doing? No, it was, how does Ocean look? And if I didn't look like I had a 6-pack, then I wasn't doing well, from the external, right? That's really unhealthy when we start to impose that on ourselves. Oh, I've gained 5 pounds because I ate a rice cake. Does that mean I'm unsuccessful? And so for me, it's real. I check myself all the time if I feel any judgment coming up, and it's like, okay, how do I want to feel today?
You know what you're saying is, it so resonates, because people focus just on what they were going to look like during that moment on stage. right? And all the timing of how they structured their diet and their training and all the craziness of the diet, and we can get to that a bit later, but it was just for that one moment. And if in that one moment they didn't achieve what they visualized they wanted to achieve, or what their friend or their trainer or their, you know, husband or spouse or whatever said to them, then that whole experience was just shattered. And when you said, you know, no one asked, how is Ocean feeling? Well, how were every one of the athletes feeling after that moment of glory on stage was gone?
Yeah, it's this peak and then a drop.
Yeah, you actually had a quote on your website. I felt a tremendous amount of shame for how I had been taking care of my own health and physically taking myself for granted for years.
Yeah,
Get into that.
About that.
What's that?
Expand on that a little bit. What did that mean to you to even write that and put that down?
Well, that was in context to the fact that one of my friends who looked just like me, blonde hair, blue eyes, that had gotten cancer and lost the function of part of her body and literally couldn't lift up her left arm. And I thought, wow, you know, she's lucky to be alive right now, but she can't get up and exercise. She can't drive her car now. It was very humbling. And I realized, you know, I wake up and I am very aggressive and demanding of my body. And if that were to happen to me, like, who would I be? Because my relationship to my body is my relationship to my life. And that's a little bit scary because I was identifying with that success of, oh, well, if I'm in shape, then everything's good. And I didn't have a strong sense of self at that point. I just had an external identity tied to what I was doing. And so, yeah, it really humbled me and made me stop and say, Ocean, if you couldn't use your body and you couldn't compete, you couldn't go to the gym, do you still like who you are as a person? Are you okay with that? Hence why I ended up moving to Asia, where the entire environment was supporting something completely different. Western world, all the advertising, everything is about how you look. And I went actually just last week, I went to another island to get some work done on my body. This guy called the muscle doctor, right? A Thai man who's been doing this all his life. And he starts moving me around and he says, okay, he's like doing a bit of muscle testing. And he's like, push, push. And I'm like, I am pushing with my leg, right? Trying to create force against him. And he just laughs. And he's like, you have no power, no power. He's like, I see you, all you people have, have muscle, come in, have six pack, no power. He's like, I have this small woman, never exercise, have power. And I was, you know, like, I get it. Yeah. The chi, the life force, you know, is like very small. And he just was like, almost like a joke. Like, you guys think you're tough, you know, with these muscles, but it's nothing. And it took me really moving here and just feeling a completely like identifying with a different type of energy. And that's what it is actually coming down to. It's like that energy inside. Do we have power? So that's really what's shifted. My power's been quite low.
You know, it's, you know, when you're saying that, most people, you know, who are training at the gym aren't focusing on their core. They're not focusing on their pelvic region. They're not focusing on making sure that everything is loose and the energy can flow through. And, you know, now when we're reconnecting with athletes who competed back in the day when the shows were taking place, or who competed 10 years ago, 20 years ago, their body is not in any condition, you know, to be able to say that they live in a comfortable way. Chronic pain is just something that they manage or hold on to as their scar. Oh yeah, I did that when I was squatting, or I used to squat this much weight or bench this much weight. Yeah, I know I can't move my shoulder or this and that. So what you're saying, you know, people who are come in with all these muscles, but they don't have the power, they don't have the functionality there.
Yeah, it's energy. It's
go ahead.
Well, yeah, just it's a different, right? It's life force. It's the energy. That's my main focus these days is the energy of everything, of the people around me, of the place that I'm in, right? If there's solar energy, if there's earth energy, it gets really hard if you're in a city, the energy is different. And so you mentioned like this workshop that I'm going to this weekend, and there's sound healing and there's Reiki, and people realize now the need for these energy practices to bring up their own vital life force, and that it doesn't matter how good it looks on the outside if you're not getting fueled energetically in your relationships with a practice, whether it's meditation or yoga or, something that is refueling you and getting the chi back up. We become depleted. And that's, I think, a big thing that would happen with competitors is this burnout, being so excessive in one area. Like, I love training like that. I still like it. And I still try once in a while. And my body goes, no, it's too excessive in one area. You cannot put that much energy just into one thing. It has to be grounded down. We need balance. Yeah.
Just before you go on, I'm just going to remind everyone, if you have any questions or comments or anything, we're live on Facebook and YouTube and Bitchute and Telegram and Rumble. That's the one I forgot. So put your comments in here. Hello, Pamela. Thanks for joining me to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Pamela. So Ocean, when we were talking about energy and chi, there's also this notion that you have to protect your vibration. You have to raise your frequency, and you do that by doing things that bring you joy, by making sure that your mindset is right, that the talk that you're listening to and that you're following and that you're even allowing to be in your head is positive and uplifting, and that you're actually changing your belief system so that whatever you were programmed to believe by your parents, by society, by anything that you internalize is actually BS. Like, well, can I swear? But it is actually BS. So it's really important that people go inwards in their head, connect their head to their heart on what feels good, so that they can actually raise their vibration and change their thoughts right from the start. What do you think?
And BS, yeah, it's a dysfunctional belief system. Yeah, that's what everyone's playing up. But yeah, back over to you, Ocean.
Okay, so what exactly is the question?
So how would you say, what's a tip to help people tune their mind to their heart so that they can actually protect their vibration and elevate how they feel within themselves?
Okay, so yeah, back with the vibration, we're really sensitive beings, and I feel we can end up being storage containers, literally like SpongeBob, really taking in everything and everyone that comes at us, whether it's from the news or from people at work or even walking outside. When I go into places that are really crowded, when I go into the grocery store, I come home and I feel exhausted. And when I look at why am I so tired? I didn't do much today. No, I didn't do a lot, but I took in a lot. The sounds, the vibrations, these frequencies from other things and other places. Hence why it's so important again to have a practice to discharge and clear off the stuff that's not yours. I think it's imperative that we become conduits for energy, not storage containers, as our bodies become storage containers. So they absorb every, memory, every thought, it gets lodged in. And if you can consciously go, oh, you know what, this stuff happened today. There was, an email that frustrated me, or something happened, and take inventory daily. These are the things that are accumulating, and I release them and I let them go. If we don't have that practice, we get backed up. We become emotional hoarders of stuff. So that's why these practices now, singing bowls and Reiki, and we have people to come help us with that, and we can learn tools for doing that for ourselves.
Yeah, you know what? The food that we take in, the liquid, the water we take in, the nutrients and nutritional supplements that we take in, it all leaves the body. What's left is that vibration. So, protecting yourself is also protecting what you're putting into you so that what's left is something that's going to lift you up into a higher frequency, so that you can tune in and you can, live that life of being happy and live from a place of self-love. Anything to add to that?
Yeah.
I agree with that. And just going back, Ocean, to a time when you were on stage and you were competing, you were a superhero in so many people's eyes. You were this superstar. Yet you had said you often felt timid, shy, and fearful.
Yeah, well, true. Yes. I still have moments like that, right? It's the different sides of us. Yeah, I was like a superhero for life. You were talking about belief systems and stuff before, and I put myself into a mindset to become that. So that was the vision, right? To be that superhero. And I saw it every day. And so I went into the gym and I created that. But I was not you get a personal trainer to train you in the gym to obtain those abdominal muscles, but I didn't have an emotional trainer. I didn't have a therapist at that time to help me grow spiritually. So I didn't feel like a spiritual superhero, which I do feel like I'm moving towards now. Right. And an energetic warrior, a spiritual warrior is what I call myself now, definitely, because I've put energy and focus on doing that to bring how I feel inside into alignment with the external. But I do remember feeling guilty when people were like, wow, like you look amazing. That's amazing. You're so successful. And I thought, oh, I am such a fraud because I feel terrible and like miserable and depressed. And I wouldn't want anyone to feel as bad as I feel right now. That went through my mind a lot. And again, why I went on this like 10-year journey all around the world studying healing modalities, because I felt like this can't be what life is all about. Like you look great or you obtain these things, beautiful things, body, and you feel empty inside, So yeah, energy journey, energy work, building it up, noticing what's taking it away, who, finding your right environment. And again, with the food as well. If there's no life in the food, then you're not going to have too much, not a very high vibration.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, if you were to look into like the world of fitness today, aside from what you're doing, and you looked into the gym, would you say that there's anything that you noticed that was wrong, that personal trainers on how they're training their clients or what people are doing in the gym?
In a way, I'm a little bit removed from that lifestyle of before. I still think, actually, no, I can't answer that perfectly, because even where I am right now, so the thing that's missing, because people come from all over the world to come to right where I am for weight loss and for massive amounts of weight loss, but there isn't the emotional support, like to talk about what people are feeling. It's like you get in the gym, okay, you're going to lift this and you're going to eat this and just stick to this program, but it doesn't deal with any of the emotional weight. Had a little friend arrive here. So yeah, that's definitely what I see is missing, is that there's a psychological aspect that people are dealing with, and the gym isn't fulfilling all of those needs.
Yeah. Well, it's the programs, it's the programming that people have that they have to get past. And, someone, who goes to a process of they're going to just shed their weight and they're just focused on that aspect of it. And if they haven't dealt with the programming that got them there in the first place, well, then that's going to come back. It may not come back right away. It depends on how strong their willpower is. But when their willpower drops off, or they're tired, or something happens in their day and that programming comes back in, then they start to go back into that same passage.
Yeah. So the trainers are pushing and pushing more, and then possibly being depleted with like a caloric depletion. And Sorry. So yeah, at the end of the day, again, it's push, push, push with no balance internally. So it's not a long term, and then the injuries come as well, like you were saying.
Ocean, was there a moment or a situation or just this aha that made you realize that the pathway that you were going down, you needed to change it? You needed to sort of rethink the way that you're looking at everything and go in a different direction?
Yeah, 100%, because I actually ended up in the hospital, and it wasn't even during my competitive, right when I was competing. It was after I was teaching 4 classes a day. I had 60 people in a class. I was screaming. I was giving, just, and not stopping. I mean, 6 days a week, just pumping it out energetically and physically. And one morning, I couldn't get out of bed, and a friend called me and said, "Hey, do you want to go work out?" And I said, "No, I'd like you to come over and take me to the hospital. Like, there's something wrong. I think I'm dying." Like, I really believe that I must have some sort of life-threatening disease, because I can't pick myself up out of the bed. And so my friend took me to the hospital. We did all these tests. And funny enough, the doctor looked at me and was like, because I had a big sweatshirt on, and he's like, "I think you need to do some exercise." Right? That was the advice. Like, you get some energy moving. And I was like, no. So we did all these tests. There was nothing wrong. I just was so depleted from being up and pushing and pushing. And so then I did go see a healer, and the healer, did some work on me and said, "You have been giving of your soul. You have been giving so much that if you continue that way, that will be the end of you." There was nothing physically wrong with me, but my whole nervous system collapsed. And I then went to a detox center. And what I noticed first was the sound. It was quieter. It wasn't loud and aggressive. And I was there for 2 weeks, just like a zombie, just barely moving. And that slowed me right down. I realized how out of balance I was energetically. I was running on this frequency up here, which people do, just in business as well. They're not really focused on their food or sleep. They just go, go, go. And then you hit a point, you collapse. And that was the turning point for me. And also I chose to stay in the land of Thailand, where there's so much healing everywhere, and it's a very different flow and vibe. So we're still building that chi back up from all those years of pushing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's really great that you chose to stay where you are, because choosing your environment, who you hang out with, where you hang out, and where you put yourself, that's so important for raising your vibration, for protecting your vibration, and actually achieving that element of self-love.
Mm-hmm.
So, you went from aggressively working out at the gym to what is it that you do now? What do you do now to just maintain your fit level, your exercise? What's a normal type of routine that you follow?
Well, I still do yoga quite regularly. And again, when I don't do it, my energy goes down big time. I still go to classes. I do mostly classes because I like the energy. I like screaming. I like being around other people. It's so much fun for me. It's a huge energetic lift. So yeah, I'm usually in a class, and I'm in a beautiful place where I can hike and be up in the mountains and be in nature. So I'm usually out hiking somewhere.
That's amazing. That's another example of choosing your environment, because being out in nature is automatically uplifting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I love about here as well. Is like having bare feet, having the sun on your skin. It makes such a difference, and you have fresh air.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking to see if there's any comments. Hey there, Ryan. Lena had a question, or saying this system does work differently. Lena, what kind of system are you talking about? If you want to put that back into the comments, then we can either answer it or have Ocean answer it for you. So
what was the question?
It's not there yet, but when it's there, we'll share it with you. So if you were to look at, wanting to, I'm not going to say to compete again, but if you were to go through that whole aspect of preparing yourself to get your body into that kind of shape, how would you approach it differently now?
Well, I just would have more therapists. Before it's like you have a nutritionist, you have a posing coach, and you have a personal trainer. And so that's that, the one side or the external, right? What you're putting in your mouth. And then having, doing sound healing and talking about your emotions and being able to talk about what you're going through and those shifts in your body, understanding what true deep rest means as well. Like to truly rest. I feel the best thing we can give our body is a calm nervous system. That's like the greatest gift to experience and feel is when your nervous system is calm. And a lot of people are in fight or flight the majority of the time. And when you're competing and, you're just on this one track, at least for me anyway, I felt like I was always in fight or flight, also with using stimulants and fat burners and for so many years being that way. That's probably why I had that collapse when I did as well. It was like just revving too high for too long. And so I think doing the deep emotional work, right? That's the internal. Then you do the external, go to the gym, but have that balance so that you're checking in with how you feel. Yeah.
I remember one show you actually, I think it was your hamstring and you tore it and you actually competed through it. You did an amazing routine. I have no idea how you did it. Incredible. And you worked through it. But at the same time, what you were doing for your body probably wasn't the most ideal thing to be giving it when it actually needed that time to heal. So now knowing what you know now, is there something that you would say to your younger self or to anyone out there who's listening that if you have an injury, what to do to help yourself heal?
It's so funny that you bring that up because I'm still dealing with that injury now. And at the time, at the time I was so determined. I mentally could not accept or live with myself if I didn't feel that I gave it all. I was willing to break my leg on stage, because that would have been defeat if I hadn't tried. So I'm like, I need to pull through. I am this warrior and I'm a superhero. And I was, and my body paid for it. And that was bad. I ripped my groin like right out of the socket and back in. And I still feel it today. And I think that, we just kind of disregard things like, oh, I need to keep training. So whatever, just move on. But then that scar tissue forms and it creates problems down the road. And that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do at the time. But I feel like I would have had this massive guilt and like been so disappointed in myself, So I'm actually in that specific scenario, I'm proud that I still did it. And I have to. Is my body proud? No, that's why that's that self-love. I'm like, thank you I said this morning in a class. I'm like, we've all made it this far. Like, thank your body for bringing you this far. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard also to be that athlete before and to push and disregard things that you're feeling, and then a point comes and your body's like, no, I'm not letting you push me around anymore. And, last year I went to lift my arm up and it just froze. And it was like, the body was like, you've neglected me and pushed me and I'm just going to stop now. I'm just going to stop working. Right. And then going, okay, I'm going to listen to you. Like, what else do you want to tell me? Yeah.
Well, even talking about that, pushing through the pain. And that's what, a lot of athletes will do at the gym, or that's what their trainer will guide them through. What if there was a better way to approach that? A better way to break scar tissue or heal in a faster way. And there is. And, when you're talking about that aggression and that fight flight situation that most people are in, we had another guest last week. We remember Ian Walling, who competed. And we were talking about the types of thoughts that people had, or that he had specifically, when he would be in the gym to be able to lift that weight, the images that he had in his mind. So when you're thinking about the things of pushing your body through and the visuals that you have as you're supposed to be giving love to your body and healing by, being able to build muscle and move yourself forward. But the thoughts that you're having are completely against that. It's completely opposite. And that's what stored in the tissues everywhere.
Yeah. Our tissues have memories, and our fascia and our cells. And that's the work I do now, is actually helping people clear and discharge all the stuff that they've collected. Our bodies don't know the difference between yesterday and 25 years ago. So whatever happened back then, it's still in there somewhere if it wasn't released.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mindy and I just spent the last 9 days intense days.
Awesome days.
Awesome. On a whole life certification coach, which is part of a whole New World Practitioner program. And the majority of the things that we're taught is how the thoughts we have, that invisible, shows up in the physical, and how the majority of injuries and discomfort and disease are really reactions from those thoughts that are creating that inflammation in the body. And then that's fueled by the eating that people do, or the extreme workouts that people are doing. And, just understanding it from that aspect. If we went back, in the days where we were personal trainers and we were helping clients and helping people get ready for events or just train their body, if that understanding was there, if it was coupled with, here's what you're doing in the gym, but we're also coupling it with, like you said, you have more therapists or more people to help you through the emotional aspect. Why are you even deciding to compete, or why are you going to the gym? Let's first address it, because a lot of people think that, well, if I go to the gym and I get my body into that specific state, I'm going to be happy. And then people are going to see that I'm healthy. And then people are going to ask me, what do I do for my nutrition? And what do I do for my training? And I'm going to feel really great. And I'm going to go back to the gym and do that same thing until they push themselves until there's an injury of some sort. But if they have other emotional side connected to it, I think that's where things would be so much different. And that's where we hope, to be able to make a difference in what the fitness world sees as fitness.
Yeah. Are you emotionally fit? Are you energetically fit? Are you psychologically fit?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because, even Ian, he still has injuries today that he's carried around from whatever he did to himself in the gym. And a lot of people just don't recognize that when you're working out and you're building up your muscles, you're actually not necessarily doing anything good for yourself. You're creating injuries, you're creating scar tissues, unless you get rid of the scar tissue, which you can through the course that is offered through Dr. Detox, Daryl Wolf. You can get rid of your scar tissue, but people don't know that. And they're building up scar tissue, they're building up that inflammation, and these long-term injuries and chronic pain in a lot of cases that actually goes to, now they're going and getting medical advice to have surgery to correct what they did, just to get their aggression out at the gym, or just to work through an injury, and just for that mental side that is working, that subconsciously they think is working for them, but really is working against them. It's just to protect their ego that they're not even aware of. That's the patterning that people have.
Yeah. I see a comment here, because we're live on Facebook and YouTube and Telegram and Bitchute and
Rumble.
And Lena was talking about mirror therapy, and that whole idea of saying, okay, I'm gonna look in the mirror. How many people actually can do that and stare in the mirror and be able to say, I love you to yourself? How many people can actually do that? And how much further along would people be on their journey if they were able to really connect? And if they really can connect, then they're going to be more mindful of what they do if they go to the gym, what they put in their mouth as far as food, as far as nutraceuticals, as far as water, and how they're actually moving their body, both in the gym and outside the gym. Right?
Mhm.
Like that's so, so important. So thank you, Selena, for bringing that up. Anything that you have to add to that?
Not specifically.
Yeah, as we were saying, we just finished a really, really powerful course that just really opened our eyes to what is really missing in the wellness world, in the fitness world, and that's that connection to self and how powerful and important that is. And there are courses coming up if you want to come down to where we are. We're down in Ixtapa, Mexico. There's a course coming up on May 28th. There's a course starting the beginning of June in Texas, and then in Toronto later in July. So you can go on to docofdetox.com and you can find out all that information, because I think once you uncover the fact of being fit, really it's not just about what your body can do and what it looks like. It's how you're approaching the body as an overall.
Yeah, and it's looking at what you're doing today. It doesn't just affect you today. It also affects your tomorrow. So what you choose to do is important. Rather than shortening your muscles, you want to lengthen. Rather than holding your breath when you're doing your workouts, you want to learn how to breathe. And not just breathe when you're working out, but breathe all the time, because that really is going to improve the processes within your body. It's going to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, and it's going to just help you feel better. And this is like breath work is so important. That's one of the things that you actually specialize in. So what have you noticed by actually just tuning into your breath? Is that an easy process to go from not really knowing that there is something additional to tune into because everyone breathes, or is it something that anyone can do to change up so that they can transition from having that kind of like tight breath, that anxiety breath, to actually like feeling like calm and relaxed and in the moment?
Well, yeah, it's the easiest and most effective, profound tool that we have to self-regulate, to shift where we're at, to re-energize. A lot of people have no awareness of how to breathe deeper, or it's uncomfortable. So it's super simple. Just breathe more. But because we have a lot of emotional stuff stuck, and we have issues around receiving or not able to let go, or there's things we're afraid to let go of, then that really affects the breath as well. So definitely having guided breath sessions will help move stuff. And it's ancient. It seems like it's trending now. Breathwork's the new thing. No, it's not. This is like, it's talked about the latest modality in self-healing. Like, no, it's probably the most ancient healing technique out there. Right. So yeah, I think that it's super powerful. And the more we start to do that type of work, the more we ground and regulate and can go inside.
So I have a question. So
What is it?
thank you. Knowing what you know now,
Yeah.
what would you say to the earlier version of you? As when you were in that state of working out to that extreme, what would you say? Well, what would you say that would allow you to have that trigger, to have that aha, so that you would change that course, so you would have a different, pathway?
So exactly what I said at the beginning of our conversation, because even when you guys asked me to come on this, you said what changed from when you were an athlete then to now. And again, I would say to myself, what do you want to feel like each day? What do you want your life to feel like? What do you want your body to feel like? And so, yeah, I want my body to feel strong, right? I want it to feel strong. Before, I wanted it to look strong. And so that's what happened. My body looked strong, but I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel strong energetically. I didn't feel strong psychologically. I just had nice biceps. So I appeared strong. And that was the issue that you brought up. It was, with the thing that I had written, I was like, oh, I look really strong and super fit and I feel really weak inside. And so I would ask myself, and that's my advice for everyone. It's like, how do you want to feel? If you don't feel good in your body, what needs to change? If you don't feel good in your relationship, what needs to change? And so many people are in relationships, friendships, jobs that they absolutely hate. And that is sucking the life out of them. That's taking the chi, that's making them weak, but they don't realize it. It's like, oh, well, I've had these friends forever, this is a good paying job, but they're unhappy. So it's that simple. What do you want to feel? And if it doesn't feel good, then we do something to change it. And if we want to feel good, we have to feel what doesn't feel good so that we can feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What doesn't feel good is your indicator of what you no longer need. And it helps you pivot to discover what would feel good so that you can go after it and even imagine what it is that you want. Because imagination itself is so powerful because it attracts back what it is that you're imagining. And especially when you're imagining it after you have taken the deep breaths, we call it the Lionheart breathing. Breathe in for 6, hold for 3, and out for 7. And you do that a few times and you get in touch with your breath, you get present into the moment, and you imagine with your mind to your heart. So it's actually on something that you feel good. It actually helps you, it uplifts you. It's a form of self-love, and it's a way to manifest what you desire.
When I look, what you're saying, Mindy, and you're saying the same thing, Ocean. It's people aren't, because everyone's in such a rush, and the state of where the world is, people are in that fight and flight, or freeze for the majority of their day, every day. Our body is designed for that to last 10 minutes, maybe, to run away from that tiger that may be coming. But in most cases, people are not in a life-threatening situation, 24 hours a day, every day.
But they're acting like it.
But if people had the sort of the guidebook on what to do. When you wake up, how are people starting their day? Most people get up, an alarm clock that goes off, they're already in stress because of that. They run, they take a shower, they're rushing, they take in some coffee to spruce them up even more, and then they start their day. Now they're in a car, they're in traffic, they're doing all these things. And if you look at it from standing back, as if someone was looking into the human race and saying, okay, let's take a look at this. Someone is waking up in their day and they're in that type of cycle. That's their own internal energetics. And then they go and they bump into the people, their relationships, whether it's their spouse, their pets, the person downstairs, the person that they're seeing, they're taking that energy to them.
Yeah.
And then that's impacting their mental health, their emotional health, that's showing up in their physical health. And then what are they expected to do? They're expected to go out and do a job. And that job has to be done at a level for them to make money. And they want to make money to have the abundance that they want so that they can have the material things that they want. And like this cycle goes around and around. If people just pause long enough to take that breath, to spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, in the morning, how are they starting the day? What intentions are they setting for the day? What are they visualizing? What movements are they doing for their body? How are they starting that day where they have to go out and have all these things happen? And it's crazy when you look in and say, wow, this is how people are operating on a day-to-day basis. And when there is a guidebook, there is a way for people to follow, it's just they have to be willing to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that it's time now that everyone takes self-love and self-healing and self-treatment and self-respect into their own hands, because what is being taught is not correct. It doesn't help you love yourself more. It doesn't help you feel better. It doesn't boost your confidence. It doesn't change the health of your body in a beneficial way. But what it does is taking the time for yourself and making the decision to actually do the things that raise your frequency so that you protect your vibration, and so that you're actually eating foods that, like you said, are living, they're whole. They actually provide your body with what your body needs to actually feel good. that they're actually drinking structured water. They're being good to themselves. They're focusing on their breath, and they are moving, but not moving to like many bodybuilders and fitness people move to build on the weight, but then in the end, they can't even touch their toes. It's moving.
You can't walk.
They can't walk.
Right, right. It's that and the emotional upgrades. Like all of it is so important that's how to truly be fit. Because once you feel good inside, it's also reflective on what comes out on the outside, including like on how you appear, but to yourself, I think in your own body. And also like you were saying, Jeff, how you appear to other people. Do you feel good when you enter into somebody's state? Like, do you feel good for them when you enter into their state? Or can they feel your anxiety and tension and just want to get away? And it's really interesting to me to see that we all have the choice to choose our thoughts. We all have the choice to get into a state of self-love, because when you're in that state of self-love, your thoughts automatically become healthful and uplifting and satisfying. And through that, you get to discover your passion. You get to, embrace your creativity and tune into your talents. And all of that is really, to me, what it means to be fit. And it's all about taking action for your fitness in a brand new way, because what they're teaching personal trainers are training on, what people are doing for themselves in the gym, it's actually opposite of the end goal of what they want to achieve, even though they think that's exactly what they'll get, like what you had previously talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone here wrote, it's called prayer. When you wake up, you move, you live, you feel, you get rid of the mental fogginess. But some people call it prayer, some will call it meditation, some will call it taking a breath, whatever it is for you that's going to allow you to connect to source to be able to do that. So, Ocean, you're now not in North America, you're at the other end of the world. I know it's late.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Thank you for this, by the way, we very much.
Yeah. So, you're still helping people and helping people transform, their who they are. What do you do on a regular basis to keep you protected? I know you talk a little bit about making sure to keep the energy off, but what do you do as far as your practice of meditation or spiritual work, or what you do to look after you?
It's a good question. My mornings are really important. I'm very kinesthetic, so sound, smell, texture, everything. I like to light incense every morning so that I take that in. I listen to the Calm app, try at least, so that when I roll over, I'm not reading text messages or emails, but I'm listening to something. And then I roll onto the floor and I stretch and I do a practice. I literally made roll onto the floor. Yeah. It's taking the time to check in and ask those questions. How do I feel? Some mornings I wake up, I have a headache. I feel stiff. I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. It comes in and starts complaining. And so I take inventory. I'm like, okay, you can complain for a few minutes and then we'll flip it over to what needs to be done. So there's a self-inventory, and the inventory is, what is my observation about what's happening right now? What am I feeling? How am I behaving? And what is it that I need? And I use that throughout the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If anyone out there has any questions for Ocean, and you can ask them here, but Ocean, how can people get in touch with you if they want to connect, find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Ocean Bloom. My website's Ocean Bloom. Everything's pretty much Ocean Bloom. And I'm running programs here basically to attend to the physical body, the mental, the emotional, energetic. We're in such a beautiful place where there's tons of fitness and yoga. And then I also offer treatments to deal with the emotional body, trauma work that is through the breath work and movement. And something that I've discovered myself that was really exciting, and I'm now going to implement that, is talk movement therapy. So, our bodies naturally shake when we have trauma. And we've been socialized not to shake. Like, that's weird. And even doctors who have had people that were just in an accident and they come into the ambulance and they're shaking. I've heard these stories about them injecting them with Valium or sedatives to calm them down. When in reality, when they're in that state, that's exactly what they need to do. They need to shake so that the immediate trauma gets discharged from the body. Giving them a sedative just freezes it in, right? We need to shake, we need to move. And so the incident that I had was that I had someone get into a very disturbing conversation with me, but I was at the gym at the time in the middle of a class, and I was on the rower. And what I realized as I was getting this information that was upsetting me, I was rowing. And so it wasn't staying inside me. I started to row more, and I was able to take the information in and then let it go. Take it in, let it go. And I think this is the challenge with a lot of talk therapy, is that people are talking and the energy is coming out and they're not knowing what to do with it, right? They don't have any way to discharge it. It's then very uncomfortable to be in the body. So I want to take people on the hike through the intense workout. And in those moments, talk about the most uncomfortable, vulnerable things so that it gets moved out of the body. And I think this should be done a lot more as group fitness therapy, right? I used to do it with spinning. Like, you get on the spin bike and ride, and you were allowed to swear and scream. And like, it was like anything that was bothering you in my spin class, you ride and then you get it out, burn it off. So that's part of my program now, is this: you work it out and you talk it out at the same time.
That's awesome. Well, look, but when an animal is getting chased and they have that moment where they have to run away from that tire, when it's done, they shake it off, right?
Yeah,
and,
let it go.
People don't do that.
No, we're hoarding it.
And what are some of the changes that you've seen with people who have come to you for your past retreats and stuff, who now experience something like that, possibly for the first time? Do they make a shift?
Oh yeah. Well, in the actual treatments that I do, it awakens stuff that's in the subconscious, so that, and then when stuff is awakened and released, new stuff can come in. So I have worked with actors and singers and all types of people that when the blockage was gone, they were able to write more music, or they found their voice again, or they decided they wanted to have a child. Really, really amazing things. And we get these bodies, and when we come into the world, they're pretty clean, and it's like a house, it's empty space, right? And so I think what happens over time is that these life experiences start to take up space if they're not discharged. So it's like, that was a loss, that was a painful event, I'm just going to put that, in the downstairs. And you can do that for so many years until one day love knocks on your door, and you open the door and there's all this beautiful stuff, or opportunity, creativity, a job. And you're like, I see that that's really good, but I have no space in my house to even take anything in, because I have all this old stuff I've packed away. And so my goal is to help people unpack that stuff so that there's more space.
Amazing. Because once you unpack it, now they have a different way of thinking and thinking about themselves and how they're perceiving the world. So everything can shift just from doing what you just said in one person or every person, anyone who does something like that, which is amazing and huge.
Yeah, we're carrying, until we unload, we're carrying everything around with us. Hence that statement, wherever you go, there you are. All of your baggage comes with you. So, let's unpack the old stuff so we have more space inside to play, to receive, to, like you said, it's easy to say, oh, just love yourself. But when people open up, or they go inside and go, oh, but there's so much stuff in here, and I don't love that. I don't love that shame or that guilt or that feeling of inadequacy. So we got to hold space for that, let it go, and then more love comes in. That's my theory anyway.
Well, I think Ryan said, yeah, unpack it and throw some of the other stuff out and keep the treasures.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. There's good stuff in there too, but that's the thing, right? Sometimes there's this amazing creativity and it's like the true essence of who we are. It's in there, but there's so much stuff on top. It's like the story of the golden Buddha. Do you guys know that story? The beautiful golden Buddha that was covered with cement so that it was protected from being damaged or stolen. So here's this golden Buddha and nobody ever knew it because it was just covered, right? And so our gifts often are covered because life has just been piled on top of us and we didn't discharge it. So you start to pull some of that stuff out and it's like, there's this amazing inspiration under there and creativity.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you discover that inspiration and that creativity, think about how enjoyable that is to actually dive into that and now have something that you can do with your days that you actually enjoy and you look forward to and you actually create from. So just like what you're saying, like just to make that shift leads to like a whole different pathway that you can live your life on. I saw another comment came in.
Lena said, yeah, just hide all that in the closet and it takes on its own life.
Too many skeletons partying in the closet. Yeah. So something else that I'm working on right now, you know, before I came to Thailand and it was offering fitness and yoga retreats, because back then it was just, you know, it was hardcore Muay Thai or you had over here yoga retreats, right? And so I wanted to combine them both. So it was fitness and yoga. What I'm seeing now with a lot of people is that there's people that are struggling emotionally, they're struggling with addiction, and they're not quite at the point of wanting to go to a detox center, right? Like a full drug and alcohol detox center. And so they choose to come to a fitness center, right? To do the fitness and weight loss, but they're missing that piece. And so I feel a real need for the program in between that says, hey, we're going to exercise and move and you do some boxing and some yoga, but we really also need to address the emotional issues and why there's this addictive thing. And so that's, what I feel creates a more full spectrum of the whole body's needs. Because I've witnessed that. There's like people, I'm like, okay, you're taking this fitness program, but clearly you should be in rehab, you know? But then I've gone to rehab centers too. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why people would not necessarily want to be here every day either. Right. So let's get a little bit of everything, talk about it, and then go for a run.
Yeah, it's getting people to pause long enough to be able to give themselves the gift of self-love and self-growth and being able to look after themselves internally from the inside first, instead of just looking on the outside.
Got a comment for Ocean Blue?
Ocean Blue.
Oh, it's a long one.
I learned that letting go is key. You need to embrace love and not focus on what's in the past or bringing it up again and again. We have no baggage that persists once you forgive and forget. Maybe I disagree, but that is why we're all different and have a different outlook. I used to be bashful. I used to not get involved, feel defeated or defenseless. But it's because we need to let that man or woman from the past die and live a better life. Faith and understanding is key.
Oh, that was Antonio Leon. Do you have anything to respond to that?
So I was like really trying to hear. There was parts of that I couldn't hear.
Take it away, Jeff.
Yeah, he's basically saying that it's so important to be able to let go and how different you can be and how he was in the past, that he was bashful or didn't want to get involved or felt defeated because of something someone else did. And it's about being able to let that go.
So that's the thing. I really believe in holding space for both the shadow and the light. And as I mentioned about love and about the heart, it's like if you want to have self-love, you have to feel everything that's standing in the way and blocking the love, the person from the past, the stuff. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's why I'm having trust issues and don't feel comfortable around people. To be able to acknowledge that, pull it up, clear it, and then make space. Definitely acknowledge the things and people that created that feeling in the first place.
Yeah. Ryan is here saying that, going to AA or different rehab centers, sometimes there's a degree of admittance of wrongdoing. And that leads to guilt.
Say that again. There's a what?
Sometimes, going to different rehab centers, focus on that person admitting of the wrongdoing that they did to themselves. What is key, I think, is that you're not looking at what you did to yourself, because you did what you did based on what you knew at the time.
No guilt.
No guilt with the programming you had in place. It's about turning that around into how you can actually love yourself, and how you can not focus on the guilt and beating yourself up over mistakes that you've made. You're focusing on now what you now know and how you can take that.
Yes. And also, we can't change the past, but we can definitely change how we're carrying it. And that's the thing. Our bodies are carrying the memory of that. Our bodies are carrying the pain. So that thing happened a long time ago. It's done. Hence PTSD. It's like, oh, I was carrying this trauma. And I've seen it so much with so many people. I've dealt with so many people and soldiers and people that were in Afghanistan and like just the craziest stuff. And we need to calm the nervous system and move that stuff out, because it just gets frozen in time from whenever the incident happened. Even if I've seen people holding stuff that happened to their grandparents. It didn't even happen to them, but they've embodied it and they're carrying it around, and it makes it heavy and hard for them to function. I have a saying, sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, just like bringing up AA. I've never been an alcoholic, but I've been to many AA meetings. I love them. I love going to AA. Like, I went with a friend to one, and just what came from that for me was, we need to be heard. We need to be heard. We need to be held, and we need to be healed. And sometimes we need to be heard without somebody giving advice. We just need to get it off our chest. And then we need to be helped. Yeah.
Someone to listen without judgment.
Yeah, no opinion, because we need to hear ourselves and come up with the solution to feel our truth.
And the same thing is true for other people, that when somebody's talking in any interaction, never judge, just observe. Because in addition to that being the appropriate thing to do for them, it's also self-healing for you, because you're now keeping your vibration at a higher level, because you're not bringing down your thoughts, you're uplifting. Yeah. So it's so important for yourself and for anyone who you're around to be doing that too.
It's protect your vibration. If you really get yourself into that moment, then you can sense that vibration of the people that are around you. You can feel that energy, but only if you can get yourself centered and into the moment. Your key is to protect your vibration. And, when you were talking about the people holding all this trauma, and what they do is they go ahead and they go to different places that will give them different drugs and medication to suppress that even further. So they're just pushing it down more and more and more. At some point, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in the physical body, an inflammation in some aspect. That's where people are growing things on them. Fibroids, all kinds of different things where they don't need to. They have to release that. So that's so key. It's so important for people to realize how they have to protect themselves.
Yeah, it is very important. And also important is like what you were saying before, Ocean, to check in with your body. I like going back when you said you roll out of bed and you kind of feel how you're feeling so that you can actually do something about it. And that actually brings us to the action steps that we have. At every show, we issue action steps for people to do, so that if they do them, you guys at home, you brave hearts, you watching this, you take the action. And if you notice something beneficial, you're making notable gains, you're having a breakthrough, you're having an aha, we want to hear about it, because your story can be the one featured so that you can then go on to inspire other people. So our action step from our show, and I know you have one, Ocean, is clapping for health. Because let's say you get up in the morning and you discover, oh, I'm kind of a little headachy, or I'm a little bit low energy and I don't really feel well, or you're running these anxiety thoughts and you want to get rid of them. One of the proven ways to get rid of them is through clapping. And you can do it with your hand, you can do it with a clapper, and you can do it as often as you want. But what we're saying is try it, do it 5 minutes every day. Just clap back here, the back of your neck, over here at the sides, and clap it. You can go upwards to the occipitals, and you can just keep clapping and do it for 5 minutes and see how you feel. And then if you're feeling good and it actually has increased your energy, it's put a smile on your face, it's taken away your headache, let us know, tag us, and use the hashtag clapping for health.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many things that can be done to make yourself feel better. The key is to become your own healer, to be able to know the things that you can do that are going to make you feel better. Because look, wherever you go, as you said, Ocean, there you are. Well, you might as well know the things that you need to do to make yourself feel good. So did you have an action step that you wanted to share too, Ocean?
Well, what I use every day are the check-ins for anchoring. What are 5 things that I see? What are 4 things that I hear? What are 3 things that I feel? What do I smell? What do I taste? Those are like immediate for any anxiety. And then I also do tapping and breathing on all the points. I do sweeping. Like, I feel like I said that we absorb stuff. So to literally, clear the third eye, the disillusionment, to tap in, and you were tapping around the throat, which is our line of communication. So yeah, I'll do all the tapping. And again, coming back to like the daily rituals, what are the smells that bring me into the now? I have an addiction to sage, sage wellness. Like, it's such a big deal for me. I just had some shipped to me from Canada because they don't have it here. So aromatherapy oils are a big one. But basically, ground, breathe, move. Ground, breathe, move. So whether that's going on the floor and doing child's pose, if that was the one pose. My favorite breathing technique is alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana, which I did at a competition one year. It was 2005, backstage doing this. And the girl behind me is like, excuse me, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just doing, I'm just doing this breathing technique. Anyway, she was like, I said, it really calms my nerves because it's aligning the left and right side of the brain, like getting everything together. And she's like, okay. And I had everyone backstage doing that, inhaling one side, holding, exhaling the other side. Yeah. So tapping, sweeping, and alternate nostril breathing.
And how
Those
long
are the quick.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, how long do I do that? Probably like 2 minutes. Yeah.
And the sweeping, is it a one-time thing?
Oh, so just, you can sweep the whole body, right? Sweep the body, then tap. I mean, tapping is so powerful because you're tapping into what you feel. Like, I feel stressed, I feel anxious, overwhelmed, my body hurts. Like, you simply state the truth. All of the heavy emotion I feel in the body, I just want to release it and let it go. All of the overthinking, the negative thoughts, I release them and I let them go. Anything that I've seen, heard that isn't serving me, I release it and I let it go. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So in addition to it being a physical thing, it's also a mental thing at the same time. You're taking
100%.
Amazing.
Stating, yeah, there's a there's this saying, I don't know if you guys have heard it, called spiritual bypassing or positive, toxic positivity. Have you heard of either of those? No.
Gosh, what
So
that is.
yeah, so spiritual bypassing, or toxic positivity, it's like, it's great to have a positive outlook and to write in your gratitude journal and like look at the positive and everything to be grateful for. Yes, 100%. But we also need to hold space for the things that are making us uncomfortable and recognize, I don't feel like I'm good enough. My body hurts. I'm upset that it's raining outside, like whatever that is. Like, take inventory, right? Dump it out and then refill with the positive. But don't just go to the positive or tell yourself, I'm just going to be happy today.
Right.
Discharge and unload the things that are making you feel unhappy so that there's space to really step into happiness and not bypass this over here.
Yeah, you call that always clever pretending, right?
Right.
Just, saying it, but not really meaning it. Just,
Yeah.
saying words, but not embracing the words.
And hence why I feel the tapping, you can tap in positive stuff. I'm going to have an amazing day. I have so much to look forward to, and then there's a place for that. I feel like it's so powerful when we go, wow, I feel really heavy in my body. My body aches. My joints ache. It's hard to breathe because I feel so heavy. I'm upset that my cat died. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now, but to take whatever's happening really in the moment, I'm worried about COVID. What if I get sick? What if my whole family gets sick? This is the truth, right? When you tap into the truth of what you're feeling, the nervous system responds. It's like, oh, thank you for listening. Some of my anxiety is going away now. I feel more relaxed. Now I can tap into the positive stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, like what you were saying, the pains in your body are really your body's way of telling you what to focus on, where you need to put your attention.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's we say no pain, no gain, right? So that could be same statement, but switched around in a very beautiful way of like, no pain, no gain. You don't listen to your pain, you don't make the gains, right? We'll grow through the pain. The pain is the wisdom. Why is it hurting right there? What needs to be attended to? What's blocking you? What happened that's now causing pain? Let's go right into it. Yeah, not push by it. That would be spiritual bypassing by the pain.
I'm seeing again, we're live on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and Telegram. Janet said, she absolutely loves this information. And someone was just asking, is this recorded? Can they see this information again? And yeah, once this is over, this will be in the group and you'll be able to watch it again and again and share it with other people who want to hear this information. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of people who are logging in, who are watching this and hearing what you're sharing. So Ocean, if people do any of those action steps, all the things that you suggested, yes, they can mention you, Ocean Bloom, and you're on all social media platforms. They hear what they have to share. What hashtag would they use to get your attention?
Well, I have Soul Tribe Journeys. And Ocean Bloom.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So all of you who are watching, take action. Do what Ocean is suggesting. Let us know how it makes you feel. Let us know what your breakthroughs are. And if you're continuing on that journey, Ocean wants to know, we want to know. You can come back on the show. And same thing with the clapping. Let us know. Does it take away your headache? Do you feel less anxious? Are you feeling better about yourself, more present or more self-loving because you're actually addressing issues that you notice you have? We want to know. You can be on the show, your story can get aired, and you can actually inspire more people.
Yeah, there's actually another show on this platform called Great Heart Women, and they're going to be talking about class also on what it's all about. You can watch some videos about it on the doc at detox.com. And just, it's about taking steps that you can do to help yourself heal.
Yeah. So make sure to tap into the Braveheart Women show, because what we are talking about, clapping, just right there, there's a whole system for it. There's a lot of information that can actually help you heal, and it's using your own hand or another device called the clapper, which allows you actually to clap longer because it's easier on your hand, and then you can get a harder clap too.
Yeah. So if people want to connect with Ocean again, you can find Ocean pretty much everywhere on social media and online at Ocean Bloom, oceanbloom.com. Is there any other sort of advice that you would want to put out there? If you've got the microphone now, you've got the fitness industry listening to you, you've got the people who go to the gym listening to you, you've got the personal trainers listening to you. What are you going to tell them?
What came to mind is just a few, I think, stigmas. And one, I really love when people go into their vulnerability, and I don't see it as being a weakness at all. That's when we have the emotional release. And strong people need other strong people. They really do. And I think that part of this, we're saying like, oh, you got to release this emotional stuff, but you also have to know that that when you go to someone, that they're strong enough to hold space for you so that you can take off the armor, and the strong people are holding space for everyone else. And they need to also find someone who's strong to hold space for them so they don't have to be responsible and just let stuff go. So being vulnerable does not equate being weak at all. It's just something I hear a lot. Oh, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be weak. And it's like, no, holding all of your stuff in, that's going to create weakness. Moving through it, being vulnerable, feeling it, crying, letting it go, that's going to help you be strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Even on the guy side of it, most people think you've got to keep all that emotion in and hide it and not let that go. And it's the complete opposite, because holding that in is going to grow issues in your tissues somewhere. It's got to come out. That trapped energy's got to come out in some way.
And one of the things that we learned actually in the Whole Life Practitioner course is Dr. Darrell Wolf. What he does is he actually talks to people's subconscious minds so that he can talk to them so that they're triggered in a way that actually gets them to have a flip of how they're actually thinking, because he's triggering them in a way so that their subconscious mind almost needs to take a step back and now look at things differently. So it's another way of releasing and getting people to step into their healing journey.
Most people, I think, probably more than 90% of the population is living in an unconscious, all day long, all day. Mm-hmm. So it's connecting. Ocean, I know it's really late for you now. It's now just a little bit past 1:30. We're so grateful that you came on the show. There's so many comments here, people saying thanks so much. You've inspired them. The information you shared was amazing. So we're so happy that we had you on today. Before we end up today's show, is there anything else that you want to share or anything that you'd like to say?
Oh, I just would love to invite people to come here to Thailand, or to reach out to me personally if they have questions about trauma, about life. This is a beautiful country that, we have everything from detoxing to body work treatments. And it's such a lovely place to do healing and to get strong in all of those ways that we've discussed. So yes, there's an invitation to come here, and I say we dance, we play, we sweat, we pray.
And that's awesome.
Sounds amazing.
We haven't seen you for a while, so we're going to have to find time that we can do that.
Yeah, maybe you can come.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys need to come here for sure.
And you need to come here too.
Whoa.
I will.
That's fantastic. So everyone tuning in, this show is really to help give you the insight and the information and the inspiration to be able to take a step out of what you normally perceive fitness to be, wellness to be, overall health to be, and understand that it is body, mind, heart, spirit. And although some of that might sound woo-woo, it really is what you need to connect to really love yourself and feel good.
And especially with what's going on today, Like, so many people are dealing with anxiety and, you know, emotional issues that, you know, to take action for yourself, you can actually reverse that and feel a lot better.
Yeah. So if you have comments, even during the recording, when you're watching the recorded version, put them there. You know, where that's being monitored. You know, we want to be able to provide you with the information that will help you on your journey. That's what it's for. This show is for you. We do it every Monday at noon Central. So join in, tune in, and get engaged. Any last words from you?
No last words for me. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Ocean. It was so nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone in the Braveheart world. Have an amazing day.
You know, it's not good enough to have the most powerful courses, treatments, and training. We want to deliver to you the adventure of a lifetime that's going to last a lifetime. And I'm going to take you on a little adventure right now and show you what we are going to deliver. What are we going to deliver? We are going to deliver the authentic you, the real you, the genius inside. How would you like to become not just the master of your mind, but the master of your body, the master of your life? You know what? The most important world is your world, and we're about to show you how to create it.
Found Dr. Wolf and all his positivity and trying to reshape our way of thinking and help me be a better person, a better mom, better wife. I'm glad I found him in person in Ixtapa, Mexico.
Never limit yourself to beautiful, because that's what you are. Take a look at this beautiful place. We all deserve beauty in our life. You need to create a new program that is unlimited when it comes to things that are beautiful, things that make you happy, things that make you shine, things that make you feel excited. Let's get excited.
This guy's got something really interesting to say and he's sharing it really openly and just really not caring what other people think, and I just thought that was really empowering.
What I've learned in my life is this: to be the change you wish to be the change you wish to see, Braveheart, you have to understand you take life one step at a time.
Dr. Wolf, as many people will have seen, is very direct and straight and will take you to the edge of the cliff, as he says, and then pull you back just in time.
Never lose your focus. Never lose your dream, because you are the dream maker. It's called image, but guess what? It's your imagination. The image that you hold creates the thought that you live with. That thought creates an emotion that creates a frequency, and we know that the invisible creates the physical. I mean, that's quite obvious. So be the power that you seek, and understand something, that all your thoughts matter. And guess what? Unless you're willing to take a look at those thoughts and retrain your brain, change your personality, you'll never change your reality, and your reality could become infinite.
He's a wealth of information, and I love it.
You were created by your creator to create. So let's create something amazing together.
I found Dr. Wolf and I went, wow, here's a truth speaker. And he spoke to my soul, and he spoke truth.
So tell me what you think of the destination that I came up with my imagination to hold the whole life coach certification for you. Understand something. It's all about beauty. It's all about adventure. It's all about stimulating the mind, okay? And understanding that your mind is unlimited. And that is what the whole life coach certification is all about. In the whole life coach certification, we are going to go deeper. We have people coming to us, professionals coming to us, from doctors to nurses to accountants to oil riggers to mothers that want to expand their life. And when they come here, they go, I need to learn to help my family, or I want to improve my business. But guess what? We get into their business. When they leave, they become the change that they wish to see, that they wish to be. They become the gift to the world, because when you can stay in the present, and you can't do that until you have unconditional love and care for yourself. And I'll tell you something right now. I have hardly even found 1 out of 1,000 practitioners, or even so-called whole life coaches, that can hold the present moment and own it and then give it as a gift. And this is what I'm going to give to you. And when you come here, this is where you're going to come into this room when you need to find alignment, you need to find balance, and you need to get back into your lion heart breath, because we're going to go deep into your heart, and we're going to become the spark that you seek.
And actually what I really love about Dr. Wolf's teachings is that unconditional love is literally it. And then you're like, how can it be that easy? That's just silly. So, but it's really not.
Come play, come stay, come train with us today. Understand something. I know we have fear, but understand, that's just false evidence appearing real. I get it. Stick your toe in, feel the water, but then I want you to dive right in, because
how I found my brave heart was through Daryl. He really teaches you to go within and go in through your heart and not your mind, because your heart's a lot more connected to so much more than your mind. Your mind is just so conditioned, and your heart is just so open and beautiful.
you're the answer that you've been looking for. Let me teach you how to fly. What does that mean? First, love yourself, Braveheart. Let's take life in and win.
I had just lost my husband a couple of years ago. With his passing, he gave me the greatest gift to love myself. But Dr. Wolf gave me the greatest gift in understanding that.
I had a dream 3 years ago that I would live in Mexico and I would have this training center, this teaching center, this treatment center that would touch the world. Your dreams are never too big. And when they start to create a little bit of anxiety, turn them into excitement. And get excited, because this is your life.
He's the first doctor that I have encountered that has truly given me the truth, and not just half truths, but the full truth. So it's been revolutionary for me in my healing process.
And this, my friend, when you take on the dream of all dreams, and you realize that if you stay connected to your breath, that you can have it all. Do not let anybody take your breath away. Do not let anybody steal your dream, okay? Listen, God gave you imagination. This is your sandbox of life. Take your life back. Right now, we are teaching courses to people that have come from all over the world, and the government is saying you can't travel, you can't breathe, you can't have this, you can't come together. Yes, we will. And we will do it with unconditional love for each other. And we will learn to grow. We will not judge each other. We'll observe and see where we can support each other. But at the same time, we will hold the Braveheart line, because this is the only way that we can grow. So find your roar, because you're so much more. And learn this. You are the unconditional love that you've been looking for. You are the dream maker. I can't wait to see you. We want to become that small piece of the puzzle that brings your dream together. Thank you. Let me ask you a question. What do you think it would take to turn your life around? I can tell you right now, I learned that a long time ago, what the key was. And anybody that has been able to perfect the perfect day on an emotional, physical, and spirit level knows this. The answer is massive, personal action. That's what it's going to take for you to turn your life around. And to turn your life around, you're going to have to go within